In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to make the perfect pre-sales call video, a video that's so good at warming prospects up before the sales calls that closers literally become just order takers. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Enes Hessen. I've done over $2.5 million in products being sold online, selling in the online coaching space. So with that being said, I would like to show you guys how does this work. First of all, let's talk about what is a pre-sales call video to begin with. Now, to keep in mind, this is not a VSL. I'm not talking about a VSL whose job is to book people for a sales call. That's the whole point of VSL, with a call to action leading to that. I'm talking about a video that prospects have to watch before the sales call. So between VSL and the sales call itself, the pre-sales call video. And the job of this video is to educate prospects, pre-handle their objections, and also prepare them to make a decision on the call so they move forward with the highest likelihood. So educating, that will look like prospects arriving informed and engaged and not confused, because confused mind, it always says no. Super important. I'm sure you guys would know about how when prospects jump on a call, they're thinking, okay, what exactly you guys do? How does this work? How much it costs? That's a lack of trust and a lack of understanding of the process. Pre-handling objections, common resistance that are being solved before the closer even picks up the phone, which is super important, right? All the limiting beliefs they might be having before they could sign up. Number 3 is priming for a decision, right? Prospects come ready knowing they have to make a decision on the call. So with that being said, why even have a pre-sales call video? Why not just run that through the process through each call? Now, here's the hidden risk in every sales team that nobody talks about. The problem is with a lot of teams I've seen, especially companies that are kind of starting to grow and over that 100 grand a month, is usually 1 or 2 closers are carrying the team on skills alone. I've seen teams that are literally bringing like 500 grand a month, but there's only 1 closer who's leading most of that weight. And the problem is when they leave, and they will eventually, the company will have no systems, no processes, and no way to replace them. That's the biggest thing that you got to start thinking about. Results will become unpredictable because of that, because the closing will crater and the revenue dry up. The solution is not having super high skill closers, each one doing their own thing, but having a very solid pre-sales call process, particularly the video, which is the biggest piece of it. Because what that would mean is even an average closer can produce you the results. And that's the key. Even an average closer you could bring into your team who's good enough, and they'll still be able to carry the boat because you have a predictable, repeatable system, not some rock star closer dependency. And that's the key word, consistency. That's how you really scale your team towards next levels. So hope that makes sense. And what's the proof of that, right? How does a process which has a solid pre-call sales video ultimately leads up to? A case study would be Harun Qureshi. So this gentleman right here, when we were working together, he was bringing in about 200 grand plus a month in sales with 2 closers, each of them part-time. And the reason he was able to do that was because he had a very solid pre-sales call video process. To give you perspective on how good that was, is literally when I would take calls for him, if a prospect came in, I could literally tell in the first 10 seconds whether they had watched the homework videos or not. And if they had, my close rate was sitting at 45% on an average month, as high as 55% on some months. So that should give you a clarity and context of how powerful a solid pre-sales video can do an effect on. So with that being said, let's get to the meat and potatoes, why you guys are exactly here in the first place. The 9 elements of a perfect pre-sales call video. What exactly does one mix? So what are the 9 things that make it perfect? Here is the whole list of different things, and we'll go into that detail as we go now. First thing, you got to set the agenda. Super important. The core question you're answering here for the prospect is, what's in it for me to watch this video till the end? So you're going to tell them exactly what they're going to learn, why it matters to them. You're going to make their time feel valuable, not wasted, because time is money. And number 3 is you got to create reasons for them to keep watching all the way. So a pro tip I can give you is a good reason to create would be saying something like, right guys, so this video is to answer most of the questions people would have before getting into XYZ, which is whatever model you're advocating for, like Amazon FBA, Airbnb, whatever coaching you're selling, since everyone was asking the same questions on the onboarding calls. So watch this video till the end so you can decide if this is a fit for you or not. And then on the call itself that you'll have, we can focus more on your situation and build a custom plan. So please watch this to come prepared, or else the call wouldn't make sense. Such a powerful reason right there. Once you've covered that, you got to go into the what we do, high level. A lot of people, believe me, would have no idea what exactly is being done and what we offer, in most of the cases. So you got to give them a clear, simple summary of how the help you provide. Like, we help XYZ to get to ABC without DYG, and give some clarity on that. No jargon, speak to their pains, speak to their simple English, like the struggles they're having, and pretty much the desired outcome at the end of it, right? Also from there, in this pod also mention that, hey, and also below this video, you can check out all the clients or many of our clients that we've had. So you don't try to push these testimonials in the video itself, but more so they can watch towards the bottom. Again, you could put one video in there if you want to, like a small clip, but that's the big one there, is you gotta make sure they understand what exactly you do. Super important. It sounds simple, but you'd be surprised, because I've been on offers and a lot of companies get this wrong. Third thing is you gotta give them a list of who this is for and who this is not for. So it could be, as I'm just giving you an example here, like who this is for. Serious buyers ready to come in. People who qualify in our criteria, XYZ. Who this is not for. People unwilling to do the work. People who are not ready to invest, all like that, to give you an idea there. So the main thing you want to really do on this pod is establish that this is not for anyone. This is not for everyone, right? This is not for you if you just have a credit card and a heartbeat that you can join the program. Like there's a why to why your clients are successful, and you got to give them reasons here. Super important. You don't have to be afraid of disqualifying people. From there, the next part is backstory and credibility. So you got to tell your backstory, how you got to this point. I've literally seen people spend like 45 minutes on this pod. In Harun Qureshi example, he had 2 videos, 45 minutes of him talking about himself, his background, to build that relatability with people and connect with those pains of people. And then the other part of the video was the whole model breakdown of exactly what that looked like. And we'll go into that in more detail. But a minimum size of this video should be about 30 minutes, can be up to 45 minutes, can be plus as well. Again, you can test it around. But here you got to tell them about your story. You share your journey, where you started, what you overcame, and why you're even qualified to help them, right? That's what you're doing. Relatability, I've found, builds a lot of trust. Along the journey, I've heard a lot of prospects tell on sales calls that, oh, I'm here because I like that part of what the person said. I connected with that part of what the business owner mentioned in the video. So, like I was also in the military, so small things like those, right? I understand he hit it on the nail with the office jobs and what it's like working for somebody else and all the pains and not being able to be there for the family. You get the point, right? You got to talk about that. Super crucial, guys. And then you share your credentials, you share your proof, you mentioned the results, years of experience, all that. Not some resume style, but simple English. So again, they know why they should trust you, right? That's super important. It got to be undeniable results here. I've had coaches literally pull up their Amazon FBA accounts and show them the stats and refresh the page to show them that, yeah, they got their own stores, they're making money with it, so they know what they're doing, type of thing, right? That level of trust, you got to have that. From there, step 5 is you got to do stats and model comparison. Now, this is key. A lot of times prospects might be sitting on the fence of whether they should even pursue the particular model you're preaching or not. And this is where you're going to handle that objection right from the get-go. So you got to show them numbers, you got to show them data to show why the model you advocate for is superior to the alternatives. So you're not comparing your own services to others. This is not what that is. You want to sell them here on the model. For example, if you provide Amazon FBA coaching, here you want to sell them on why Amazon FBA in first place. You get it? So the goal here is to kill any doubts of someone should consider walking this path to begin with or something else. I've seen this in business acquisition, people wondering, hey, should I start a business or should I get into buying a franchise? So you got to show all the data here, why franchise models are the worst based on your goals, what you're looking for. So that's the thing. Now from there, element 6 is you got to now get into the details with them of the different pillars of the process. So here is where you're going to be showing them exactly how you're going to deliver results to them in 3 simple pillars. That's the thing you want to keep in mind. 3-pillar process. Example of an e-commerce would be, hey, pillar 1, it's winning product, right? We start here, no winning product, nothing else matters. Pillar 2, it's high converting website. Great product, bad site equals lost trust. Make it look professional. And then once you have all those 2 things, pillar 3, target marketing, right? Nobody will buy if they don't know you exist. So you got to drive traffic that converts. All these 3 things combined, you're going to make as much money as you want. Real estate example, let's take it for that. Finding great deals. No great deals flowing in equals nothing else works. Deal flow is everything. Number 2, qualification process. Screening every deal rigorously so you never buy a bad property. Super important. Number 3, smart financing. You got the first 2 parts. Now it's about minimizing the down payment and collateral and building wealth in a safe, predictable way. You get what I'm saying? So you got to adapt these 3 pillars to your model so prospects understand the roadmap before the call. I'll recommend you sit with them this part of the video, like in the video, stretch it out, take your time, really make sure they understand it and they're sold on the model, on the pillar, on your process, everything. The more time they spend with you consuming your content, especially if it's cold market, the more trust it's going to be built. People believe that, yeah, if somebody buys a low ticket and then they go into buying a high ticket, which is a very common process of generating cold traffic. That's valuable because you know you got a spender there. However, and also of course that reduces your cost of call booking, you still got to educate people on a very good level. There's no around this particular part, so that's there. Element 7, now you got to tell them about what exactly they're going to get. Well, I'll loosely use that word exactly. You're going to tell them the deliverables. Make it exciting. These aren't features and they're transformations more so. Well, I say loosely because you want to keep a frame throughout the whole video that this is more of a one-on-one type of custom game plan type of process, which is why the sales call exists, right? Onboarding call. We'll get into that in a second further. So here you want to talk about the things they're going to get, right? The best parts of the piece. That's the keyword, the best. For example, one-on-one coaching, ongoing support, performance tracking, anything that you do to help them get results fastest. The tip is more one-on-one type support you highlight, the better, because no one these days care about a recorded course. They can go and watch it on YouTube. They can buy a $200 course. It's not valuable. They're coming here because they need real support, somebody who they can ask questions from, get that help. So the more you highlight that, the more you're going to stand out. There's not a lot of people who give one-on-one support out there. If you can do that, you're gonna win. Element 8, once you've covered that, here comes the juicy part. My favorite is handling limiting beliefs before the call. So you're going to do a Q&A format part here, as if answering real questions from real people. So a few examples are below. So for example, you can be like, hey, and so let me cover some common questions that people tend to have when getting onboarded in this with us. They have concerns about the model's longevity or competition. You show them stats, you show them how big the industry really is. No matter the competition, once they know how to, they will always find gaps in the market to fill. I've tried things like this before, they didn't work. Acknowledge their experience, give dating or car accident analogy. Dating analogy would be if you date somebody, it doesn't work out, you stop dating completely, or you do go back to it and continue looking. Same for car. If you get in a car accident, God forbid, do we stop driving or do we continue driving after some time, right? Same thing here. And then also highlight the fact we have one-on-one support and results and all that to build that trust, right? I'm not sure if I have time. Somebody, and this is a common objection a lot of times with prospects in a few industries, break down the real-time commitment. Hey, it's only 5-10 hours a week with us, and here's how. And the fact it all comes down to prioritizing it correctly. People who say I don't have time almost always equals it's not a priority right now. If it was a priority, they will find time. Make them realize that. Ask them to bring their spouse on call if they be involved, right? Explain how we found that it's important so everyone has all the information to make an informed decision together. Is this really legit? Can I trust you? Again, show more testimonials, show them results, talk about your process, maybe even the guarantee you have in place for protecting their outcome. Anything that you can throw in there to help them out, super powerful. Hey, what if this doesn't work for me, right? Speak to your support structure, track records, the fact that it comes down to them doing the work. We have already paid our share. And that's the part here. If somebody asks about doubts on your end, or what if this doesn't work? How do I know? Put it all back on them. Being like, hey, I mean, here's all the track record. Here's what before we jump on the call, we literally spent 30 minutes telling you everything about their process, our results, everything. 30 minutes we're talking about. So we've done our part share of proving that we have a process that dials, right? It's a matter of, are you willing to now put in the work and follow this proven process? That's the biggest thing. And finally, you position the sales call perfectly. So far you've done, if you take 10 minutes through each of these stages, which is quite extended, but let's say you take 5 minutes through each of these stages. Again, Harun Qureshi was doing an hour and a half in total, and he was crushing it. That guy was crushing it. So you guys can test it out, right? Like do an hour and a half video, divide it into 2 parts, so video 1, video 2. But anyways, point being is you set up the sales call perfectly from here. You frame the sales call as a game plan onboarding call, not a sales call, right? Not a implementation call. Because again, people might have the wrong expectation. Maybe it's a coaching call. You want to set it the right way, that this is an onboarding call. And that was the frame we were using with Harun Qureshi, and it was crushing it, guys. I don't know, again, why not so many people use those frames. So call it onboarding call, XYZ program onboarding call. So set expectations, right? That if it makes sense for them, we ask them to make a decision and take action. If it doesn't, we part ways as friends. So because of that, Mr. Prospect, do your research, look us up, read our testimonials, come prepared. We love people who take action and are prepared in life. Expect to decide, come ready to move forward if it makes sense, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. And of course, lastly, overcoming that fear. So many times people love what we have, they want to do it, but the fear just holds them back. And we have to realize that growth happens outside of comfort zone and it requires a leap. So prospects need to know it's normal to feel worried about uncertainty of doing something new. Totally normal. Make them feel nice. And from there, and voila, that's pretty much it, you know? So from here, we get into the next stage. Once prospects go through and watching this video and they're being booked in the sales call with the closer, the biggest thing you want to do is have your closers and setters call every prospect before their sales call to confirm that they watched the video. If they haven't watched it, reschedule. A cold prospect on a call is a wasted call. Again, super important, right? You can try to jump on a call, do a discovery, try to reschedule, have them watch a video. I've just personally found a reschedule is better. So if they've watched, great. Prospects arrive warm, informed, and ready to make a decision. If not watched, a reschedule, protect the closer's time and the prospect's experience. And finally, the payoff, what would that lead to is a consistent 35 to 45% close rate. Even an average closer wins. So again, this is a summary of all the points that we just went over today, and consistency is the goal, all right? A great pre-call video turns average closers into great results and order takers. That's what you want for your business. You want a business that's well established, well dialed in marketing, pre-sales process to where the conversion closers are literally just put cherry on the top. And that's how you build great businesses. That's pretty much it from my side, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I guess the last thing would be when you guys do go and apply all of this, you start seeing better results. If you guys from there onwards need more help with training your closers to do better or just optimizing your processes to where you can scale towards multiple 6 figures a month, feel free to schedule a call with me below. I have nothing to sell you. I'm more so looking for partners, partnering with few businesses a year to come in, help build their sales team, help them scale and go to the next level. That's pretty much it from my guys. Take it easy.